to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. It's the last week of summer, I believe, just about. That's Ian.
It's me.
I'm Pat. On the show today, we're talking about a Nintendo Direct from Nintendo. We're talking about the official Intellivision Amico Reddit back under non-corporate control. And then the investors got an update finally, about a week late.
Also tonight, an update.
And then also we have a Patreon poll topic, and then other stuff happening. We talked about me watching Van Damme in We Die Young on Netflix on the exclusive Patreon CU podcast at patreon.com/CU podcast. Very interesting. Van Damme stretching his acting wings a bit, which he's wont to do. He is.
And it's good to see. It's good to see him having fun.
You played some Splatoon 3, Ian?
I did. My weekend was pinball and Splatoon 3, as usual. Came in third place in my tournament on Sunday.
Oh, did you get a little medal?
No. Doing better, getting better. And then Splatoon 3 came out. Vonnie and I have both been really looking forward to it. Splatoon is one of her favorite games of all time. Maybe her favorite game of all time. And I really, really loved the shit out of the first one on the Wii U. I bought the second one for the Switch, but it was kind of at a time where I wasn't playing a ton of games. So I never got as into it as the first one. And not for any fault of the game. You know, the additions and stuff that they added seemed great, but I never really got into it. So I just kind of passed it by. Mm-hmm. And when the third one got announced, I was like, okay, I'm ready to play this again. I'm excited. The game is, a lot of more of the same,
sure.
But a lot of quality of life upgrades and little stupid things that you can do that I've actually taken a real shine to. Like customizable, online cards with your name and the backgrounds and stuff like that, all these little unlockables. And now they have a locker room where you can decorate your locker like it's high school, and you can put stickers all over it and organize your gear on the inside of the locker and stuff. And you can go around and check other people's lockers and give them a thumbs up rating. And honestly, I think that's the part that I'm loving so much. I'm spending all of my hard-earned money on stupid stickers. And I'm not buying like any gear, which gear is, important. Gear is far more important than some dumb stickers, because gear gives you all the, ability boosts and things like you need. No in-game purchases or currency of any kind like that, which is nice to see. One of the more popular modes from the second one, Salmon Run, is now available all the time, whereas on the original one it would go up and down intermittently. Like sometimes you could do Salmon Run mode and sometimes you couldn't. It depended on when they were hiring. And that's a player versus enemy mode where you can have up to 4 players, and it's a survival wave type of game. You got to collect golden eggs to move on.
Well, that sounds fun.
So anyways, I'm enjoying it. I started off really rusty on Friday, and by Monday night, I was starting to feel a little bit more confident. And I'll definitely be playing it for a long time. It's, I think, one of the best new IPs Nintendo's put out in a long, long time. It's just visually striking and very much stands on its own, kind of outside of the usual Nintendo kind of world.
Nintendo shooter, having a shooter in their little repertoire.
So speaking of shooters.
Okay, I guess my weekend doesn't count. Speaking of
your weekend does.
No, it doesn't.
I thought you already mentioned that. You mentioned the Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I did that last night. But I guess I say that the weekend includes Monday now because of the podcast.
It does.
There's a Call of Duty tiff between Microsoft and Sony. Sony, and we talked about this before about back when the Activision deal was going through, everyone's saying, well, does that mean Call of Duty is going to be exclusive to Microsoft? And I said, for the amount of money they're paying, it eventually should be. Because it would make sense that since that's a huge part of Activision,
right? It's
Call of Duty. So Sony has criticized Microsoft's offer to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for only 3 more years. So going back to, I guess, the original deal that Activision had with them. So this is so weird because it's like there's not anything that Sony could do to force Microsoft to keep Call of Duty on their console. Absolutely nothing. So I think originally they said we're going to honor the original contracts and agreements, which I think they still are. But beyond that, they don't have to if they don't want to. So PlayStation boss Jim Ryan told GI.biz that Microsoft offered to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for specifically 3 years after the existing deal between Activision and Sony finishes. Ryan said that this was inadequate on many levels. Ryan said he wasn't going to comment on any of this because it was a private business discussion, but he'd like to speak out and set the record straight because Spencer spoke first about the eventually not being an exclusive, I guess. I mean, what do you expect, Sony?
Yeah,
They're your competition. What do you expect?
right.
If they're going to offer to go beyond the current agreement, you guys got to take it. I mean, that's it. What are you going to try to shame them and be like, oh, our players can't play. We didn't play it on Sony consoles for all these years. I mean, okay. Microsoft will be like, great. We just spent billions of dollars. I mean, okay, that's fine. They can get Game Pass on PlayStation. That's probably what they're probably going to angle, So I think it's funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, again, what do you really expect here when you're spending that much? I still think there's a path to see that stuff on Sony consoles, depending on how big of a juggernaut Game Pass becomes. But I also feel like the excitement over Game Pass is cooling a little bit. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
Sony's exclusivity deal with Activision remains in place this year, which is why PlayStation users are getting a first crack at the beta of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which starts in September. So those agreements are still in place. They're still getting done for the next few years, So, but after that, I think Sony's out of luck. I don't think it's going to be a thing. D20. We love the Disney 23 news.
I don't.
I think it's Studio 23. Is that why they call it D23?
I can't remember. I used to actually know the answer to that, and I can't remember.
So D23 is their own. Since Disney.
Yeah, D23 Studio Showcase.
So D23. So Sony. Disney now owns a majority of the viable entertainment franchises on the planet. So they can do their own, Comic-Con thing. It used to be that you had Comic-Con Hall H stuff and booths, and they still do stuff, but now they keep all their ammo ready for their D23. So they had Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. They had Secret Invasion trailer. They revealed the Thunderbolts lineup, which is their version of Suicide Squad for Marvel.
Yep.
Basically all the tweeners and villains that try to do the right thing. Even though it's not really villains in the lineup, I looked like, no, these are all like kind of heroes. Whatever.
They recently.
That's fine.
Okay, whatever.
I know there's been different lineups of Thunderbolts. I'm not big into Thunderbolts, but it's just a shame that the actor died. What's his name passed away, so there's no Thunderbolt Ross anymore.
Oh,
he died. I think he died last year. Did he die last year? So that's kind of a shame for a lot of reasons. Besides the guy's gone, that's a shame. He's a good actor. Nice to create his name. William Holt. Okay. William Hurt. William Hurt. He was great in History of Violence.
Okay.
Ever see History of Violence?
Mm-hmm.
Great movie. As the baddie. What else we got here? Loki new season, and then Daredevil, Born Again. But it's not coming out for 2 years, so they're probably going to film it next year. That's the only reason I like these announcements, because it's coming. There hasn't been. It's been
right. It's
been 4 years since the last season.
It's announcements of announcements.
It's been 4 years since season 3 of Daredevil on Netflix, I believe. I think it was 18. It was 16, 17, 18, I believe, the seasons or something like that. Then they had the rights issues happen, and they canceled the show. Then they couldn't do a show for at least 2 years if it was a Netflix show. So they said that this is going to be not a continuation of the former series because it's been so long.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine you're going to have Bullseye back in some capacity, who was great in season 3. And then D'Onofrio's been back in Hawkeye, and as Kingpin, and it's the same Kingpin kind of, but a little Disneyfied a little bit. He was a little more goofy in terms of like things bouncing off. I don't know if you saw that.
No,
right?
I did not. I still need to see that.
Hawkeye was good. I liked Hawkeye.
I really don't like Jeremy Renner.
Oh, personally?
No, I don't like him as an actor. I think he's.
I think he's pretty good as an actor.
No,
you don't like him as like an everyman actor character? Like no.
No, he doesn't really do it for me personally. I actually don't know a whole lot about him. I know he's kind of fucking don't. I don't like him as an actor.
I liked him in Mission Impossible 4 a lot. It's a shame he never came back because he was pretty good.
I do need to watch those movies.
You've never seen the newer Mission Impossibles?
No, I heard they're great.
4 is amazing. Oh, I say start at 3. 3 is like, okay, these are the new movies.
Yeah, 3 is where I'd start, especially because I'd love to see Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, yeah, but 4 was like really fucking good. People are like, wow, this movie's this good. And then now, obviously, 4, 5, 6, and now 7, like, there's their own, like, continuity.
Right.
Yeah. Because those are all the ones directed by Brad Bird. He directed, I think, most of those from Incredibles. Anyway, yeah. 4 is fucking cruise on the Saudi Arabia fucking building.
Yes.
No, not Saudi Arabia.
Dubai.
Yes. Literally on the side of the building. He's a nutcase, but that's why everyone loves him. That's why movies do $1 billion. What else we got? Star Wars Andor, Rogue One prequel. That looks interesting.
Fucking tired of
Marvels. They did a new trailer for Wakanda Forever. I'm very cautious about that movie. We'll see. Indiana Jones 5 had a first trailer. None of these went online, by the way. And then Harrison Ford showed up and started crying. He's like, thanks, everyone. And it's like, okay.
Which is weird because Harrison Ford has never really been that like emotional of a guy.
No, he's basically hates Star Wars, but I guess maybe he likes Indiana Jones better. This is what I like: Captain America: New World Order, the new movie, bringing back Tim Blake Nelson as the leader from the Incredible Hulk movie from 2008.
Wow!
Remember they set that up at the end?
That's crazy.
That is what gets me interested. That's the leader. Does that mean they're gonna have Hulk in that as well, or because that's like a Hulk villain? Really interesting. I just think that's interesting. And then the new Ant-Man and Wasp they talked about. A lot of shit.
Yeah,
a lot of shit.
I don't think we need to go through all of it.
Coming out still. Avatar's coming out. That's like a huge thing. Avatar's coming out. The sequel. You know.
The only thing that I saw that I'm interested in is the Tron visual novel that was announced. So
they're doing the Ironheart series, the Echo series. Okay, we'll see what happens with that. That was a smaller character from Hawkeye. Oh shit! What just happened here? Something just dropped. Wow, we never had it happen ever in the podcast. A ghost pulled on my mouse and fell. First, my headphones not being in Ian earlier today. Now this. The game room's haunted.
All right, here's a fun one. Ubisoft is pretending that they never got into NFTs, which is bullshit because we covered it a couple of times last year.
Going back to last year with Quartz.
The big announcement of Quartz, and they released those Breakpoint NFTs, and
you said they sold like 12?
So it looks like a lot of them were given away. There was only 96 successful secondhand sales for those in-game items on Object and Rareable. Which is like
96?
96 total secondhand sales they gave away thousands of them. And it looks like we can't pull up that old article, but there was that article that said that they actually sold like 27 of them and made pocket change.
Sure.
Pocket change. They made a couple $1,000s. So, Yves Guillemot, whatever, fuck that guy, said, we really look at all the new technologies. We're very much on cloud on the new generation of voxels, and we're looking at all the Web3 capabilities. We tested a few things recently that are giving us more information on how it can be used and what we should do in the universe of video games.
Tested?
So we are testing ground with some games, and we'll see if they really answer the players' needs. No, you full on fucking announced this shit like it was going to be the next big thing. This Ars Technica article, which was written by Kyle Orland, it says, at the end, the weirdest part of Guillemot's NFT remarks came when he spoke as though Ubisoft hadn't launched its first NFT experiment yet. The quote, "We should have said we were working on it, and when we have something that gives you a real benefit, we'll bring it to you." He said, "Exploring doesn't mean launching."
Jesus Christ.
Idiots. And this is what's going to keep happening. Did you see that fucking the news yesterday? Starbucks, after months of NFTs just being dead and dry, Starbucks announces it. And I saw a lot of comments that echoed what I said. A lot of these late coming things are people who saw it at the time, and then there's 6 to 9 months of effort into it.
You got to do your research, and you got to put it together, get the team together. And
then instead of scrapping it, they actually put this shit out.
Yeah, they throw good money after bad. It's fucking ridiculous.
Just admit it was a fucking bad move, guys.
But you can't do that because then your job's in line. It's like all the like GameStop. They're never gonna admit that the GameStop NFT's been a horrible idea.
Oh sure,
it's been terrible. Ian, this is an interesting news item for you, right? So, vinyl in the UK sold better than PlayStation games.
Yeah, I
recently,
just
right?
not a whole lot to say here, but it's just fun to bring up. So vinyl beats out PlayStation games as the number 2 UK physical media. I mean, it's two of my hobbies combined in this news article: record collecting and playing games. And it just, it gave me a minute to really think about how strange the comeback of vinyl records is to me.
Is there a chart somewhere that has sales per year of vinyl? I got to see that.
There probably is, but
vinyl.
it started in the early 2000s, kind of this comeback with indie bands putting more and more of their stuff on vinyl, as CDs fell out of favor because people were using MP3 players, they were streaming, they're streaming their music. They could drop USB drives into their car stereo and play MP3s off of it. So CDs fell out, and I think one of the main reasons records got popular again is because they feel more collectible. They feel more unique. They're big. The art is big. You can fit a bunch of them on a shelf. And I think people just like the feeling of a record. It feels more substantial than a CD.
It's also not an inferior format.
Well,
To some people, there's
I could get into a whole segment on that. No,
analog versus digital,
the problem is most of these modern records are being pressed from digital recordings,
so
so
it
you're
doesn't
not
matter. really
really getting anything.
Okay.
And vinyl degrades. Yes, there is a warmer sound to it because as you play a record over and over again, it wears out a little bit, and it does create kind of a warmer sound as it degrades a little bit. But the whole vinyl records are superior. That's elitist gatekeeping
You
stuff.
think so?
Yes, it is.
Even
I
for
love
even
this.
for how these were originally, we're talking about 60s and 70s.
If you're talking about the original stuff,
and
sure,
80s stuff?
it can sound great, but there really is no. I mean, the best audio format is FLAC. Just if you really care about having the best sound possible, you use a lossless audio format like FLAC. I mean, that's what you do. So, I mean, you have to understand. I'm not saying this to be abrasive. I'm saying it because that's kind of weird elitist thinking. I love the way a record sounds, but it is not objectively the best sound.
Oh, I thought there was always debates about a vinyl versus CD sound forever.
There is. And like I said, with modern stuff, when it comes to these digital recordings being pressed, it's kind of a moot point, if you're not using the analog recording to make the analog master.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's neat to see. I mean, every house, a lot of places I go now, when I go to someone's house, they'll have 3 to 4 records. Some people don't even have turntables, but they buy a couple because they see them and they go, "Hey, I like that," and it's a neat thing to have.
Well, in the U.S. last year, almost 42 million in 1 year. 42 million? That's nuts. Was it like 1,000 people buying 4,000 each? Like, that's holy shit. When you see that number, that's like a lot of penetration into a market.
So, recorded music sales peaked in 1999 at nearly $21 billion in dollars. Doesn't say how many actual
because CDs were like $12.
CD sales per unit in 1999.
CDs are probably like $13.
How many CDs were sold in 1999?
In the sync days.
Yeah, it doesn't really say.
All right. Well, where you can also get some physical media? UltimateNintendo.com.
Good one, like
you,
that.
You can get some books that are physical media.
Fucking solid.
You can get some stickers that are physical media. You can get the CU Podcast 3-pack of the limited, the Danny, and our cute faces there. And you can also, my limited button didn't work. And you can also get the Frank and Pat as well right there at UltimateNintendo.com.
You sure can.
Yeah, my soundboard froze. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
It got caught up. Ian's happy about that. You also can get the RBI baseball stickers. That's physical. And the enamel pins. It's all physical there at UltimateNintendo.com. I'll be on Twitch Wednesday. Twitch.tv/ContriCode. And I'm on Cameo. Cameo.com/PatContri. I actually did one this week for a 3-year relationship anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very nice.
How nice.
How nice to have it hit 3 years right there. Ian will not be at my Twitch chat on Wednesday, probably.
Will not.
If not, use the command !Ian to see if Ian's in the chat. You can use that. It's a real command.
I think that's funny.
Billy Mitchell has been in the news. Mitchell. Billy. From according to this article on Kotaku, there's been a filing. Billy Mitchell says, this article's by John Walker. Oh, that's the U.S. Patriot, John Walker. Huh, not the same one. Billy Mitchell, U.S. agent. Billy Mitchell says his doctor won't see him because of Donkey Kong cheating allegations. I think that would be illegal to do that.
Yes.
By the way.
So that's basically where I'm at on this. I know that I think it was a Kotaku article said they reached out to the doctor, and I don't think they ever got a response back. But I mean, this is Billy Mitchell fucking crying like a baby, because if a doctor is refusing to see you, that's against their Hippocratic oath,
Yes.
and that person should. You would have a clear lawsuit. If that's not true, and
That's
this is actually a real
defamation.
doctor's
Yeah.
name, that's defamation.
Yeah, what the fuck?
So
Billy?
one way or another, there's a lawsuit here.
Meanwhile, I think I saw there was a final report, or not a final report. There was something put out. Like I'm talking, there was a huge investigation, or excuse me, a document put together, and I can't find it right now. I don't see the article. Like a 50-page technical document about why Billy Mitchell's footage was captured in MAME and not a real.
Right.
It like when
Talking about the transition screens, and all
screens.
that. Yeah.
how the CRTs fire on a ROM board versus MAME. Like it was like super technical. I skimmed it. I'm like, okay, this is like they could use this in court if they had to. It was like a 50-page
Right.
document put together by experts, like technical experts. It was great. Even talking about like the supposed devices that Billy used. They claim that they use certain devices to go from the board to an LCD and that stuff. Like they even said, "Oh, this was all BS and things like that in there." So I don't know where I saw that, but I saw that posted somewhere. Anyway, Billy's gonna. Billy's that's still the best. Billy's gonna Billy, I guess, when it comes to that.
Yeah, Billy is definitely gonna Billy.
Yeah, there's a lot more in this article, but Captain Intro's got to keep us moving. That's Ian, right here.
I didn't do it this time, but
You did?
You're right.
Okay, so the following is kind of sad news that I'm involved with, and it's not like it's when we started to do the podcast, I don't think we ever saw ourselves being put in certain situations in order to what we thought would be like either watching out for bad actors or trying to safeguard the community. I don't think I saw that being a thing when we started the podcast in 2013. It's just like, we're just talking about games and being goofy.
Yeah.
And talking about Ben Affleck being Batman, stuff like that. So somewhere along the line, something changed where we would get involved with some of these news, and obviously the Legal Chameleon was part of that, where we were seen as some sort of if you hate the word influencer, tastemakers when it came to what was coming. You like that better, tastemakers?
I don't
in
like
terms
any
of
that.
of what was going on in the community and what we thought about it. So in the past, I've had people come to me with advice or news or just in private, an email about watching out for news, and Ian's the same way. But this happened back in January for an unreleased Atari 2600 game. I was emailed back in January about a Tiger Vision game called Intuition. So this was an unreleased cart, and no one knew if this existed in some sort of final form. Tiger Vision put out a bunch of weird-ass games that Ian's probably come across at Loon every once in a while. They had a really strange catalog. They were one of these third-party companies that put out.
They jumped in to make as much money as they could, and it doesn't surprise me. It's this was related to Tiger Electronics, the makers of those LCD handheld games.
Okay, they were. Okay,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they were
No,
related.
it was their video. It was their attempt to cash in on the video game craze.
So they did games like River Patrol, which is one of the harder to find games. These are all like very uncommon or rare games.
Yep.
Threshold, I don't know if I've ever heard of that one.
Don't know it.
They did a Jawbreaker, which I think I've heard
seen
that one. I might
Jawbreaker.
have that one, honestly.
Seen that.
And they did King
That was
Kong.
because that was an Apple game.
And they did King Kong, which I didn't know was a game. Now I'm going to look that up. So I was contacted by a Midwest Half Price Books employee who said, hey, someone just traded in this game called Intuition. And they said that, you know, they did their research and they said that this is a game that didn't come out, that there's not much information about it. And there isn't. There's not gameplay of this game online. There's nothing about it on. I looked on Atari Age about someone having a prototype or version, nothing about it.
Right.
And so they said to me, "We're going to put this up for." I'm paraphrasing. We're going to put this up for auction. I want to let you know that it's coming up for auction. And so, what do you think Pat said? This is an unreleased game we don't know about.
Gots to get it dumped.
That the community doesn't know about. What's happening? So, within 48 hours after I talked to someone who's, you know, an authority in this, and I personally called the employee to try to give them, you know, options at their half-price bookstore. Be like, okay, you got this game. Did you ever think about possibly preserving it?
Sure.
For the community? This has been a thing the past years, just in case they didn't know about it. Obviously, the person was a fan of the podcast and knew about enough to contact us. But to contact us to help sounds like almost promote the sale, because in the original email was just like, oh, this is coming up for auction pretty soon. So I thought I'd act fast. So within a couple of days, I contacted him. So in the original email, they said they believe this is the only known copy of the game. It seems to be a prototype which is being worked on in '83 before the video game crash.
Because they talked about how the label's peeling back a little bit, and you can see
Yeah.
minor 2049er under there.
Yeah, it's a red cart, like minor 2049
Yeah.
it was.
And Threshold was too.
We had spoken to the person who originally sold it to us, and it belonged to her late husband, so she wasn't able to provide any information on how she came to own it. So you have, you know, this old lady that who knows if it was an employee of Tiger Vision or just a collector that got their hands on it in past decades,
Right.
and then they just traded into half price books. So there was conversations had. They went back to corporate and had discussions, from my knowledge, about, okay, let's not put this for sale. We're going to hold off on this and come to what we think is the best solution. And me and someone else suggested that it would be a good PR marketing move to show that goodwill towards the community that brings you stuff to resell.
Right.
And Half Price Books does a lot of business with video game stuff. To maybe you work with an entity out there. You can work. There's entities like the Strong Museum, the Video Game History Foundation. There's others that could help preserve this ROM.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, that's interesting. We can discuss that. Or at the very least, you could always do a donation. You do a donation, and that's tax deductible. You can come up with the value that they, you know, a 501c can write you the value.
Yep.
And do a donation. There's ways to do this, and Half Price Books comes out as a good guy, and you everyone wins. The community wins. This is a game that gets preserved, that we didn't know was even in some final form at all, and everyone wins. So that was back in January. Fast forward to Labor Day weekend. Which was the weekend of the 3rd, 4th. I received an email on Saturday afternoon that I didn't check my email most of the weekend, that I checked till Monday. Saturday afternoon, with no prior warning from Half Price Books, it was up for sale on their website, the card. After not hearing from them for about 7.5 months. Just on the website, like that. No forewarning. I spoke to people, one in particular, went to corporate, and then just for sale on their site. And so on Monday, I was like, well, how much is it? Because on the site, I think you had to call the store to get the price. And then I hear it was sold. And it was sold within hours. Sold within hours on that Saturday, the 3rd.
How did it sell so quickly?
I don't know, Ian. Because supposedly not many people knew about this. And when I was emailed, supposedly there was only a few other media outlets informed about this at the time. So this is going to a collector, I was told, in California, that we don't know who it is. We don't know what they're going to do with it. We hope that they do the right thing and have it preserved.
Sure.
But based upon what I heard, it was sold for $10,000 very quickly.
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money for a Atari prototype. Even though it's unreleased, that's a lot of money. There's not a lot of Atari collectors out there and would think that they would spend that much money that quickly. That's why this whole thing stinks. I'm not saying something nefarious was done, but the fact that there was no heads up given to me and others in the community to either try to rally around and raise some money or to like give a last minute suggestion that this is not a good idea. It just feels shitty.
Yeah.
It's shit.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like if this was going to be the outcome, why the fuck did you even bother to like talk to me or listen or try to like?
Well, I mean, it's probably the higher ups. That'd be my guess. The higher ups are the ones who made that call, and
I get it, but then don't give any forewarning out of courtesy and respect. And I'm not saying we could have raised the money that quickly, but maybe there would have been a happy medium involved.
right.
Was the money that important versus the potential amount you could have gotten goodwill and marketing and PR for half price books? Because now you have assholes like me that are saying you did a shitty fucking thing. I'm going to say straight out, I would discourage anyone from dealing with half price books if this is the way they're going to act. That's
All right.
well, you got anything else to add? I mean,
it sucks, but I have a feeling it doesn't fall on any one person, and it's just a shitty matter of stuff coming through a place that deals in used products. But yeah, I mean,
there are so many things that could have been done with this.
Sure.
To benefit half price books, and it's short term thinking versus long term.
Well, sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I would agree with. I'm trying to look at how many locations there are of half price books. Yeah, I mean, it's a chain. It's a chain.
Yes.
I'm not at all surprised that, but I'm just not surprised it happened. It sucks, and I wish it didn't, and I wish someone had been able to dump it. But I mean, that's what you get with dealing with chains. You just get people who are money-minded up top who don't care.
But this is why it's so weird. If this was going to be the outcome, this is the same outcome that would have happened had I never been contacted, I guess.
Yeah.
Why did it take several months to get to this point, and then it just comes up, and then someone buys it within hours? I'm not saying conspiracy, but that's all fucking weird.
I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's very obvious someone knew that it was going up for sale. They were told and they bought it. I think it's clear as day.
It fucking stinks. It fucking stinks. And I'm not saying this is a microcosm for life itself and how people act, but it just makes you feel like shit that people couldn't see the right thing right in front of their face.
Sure.
And this is a big corporation, and or maybe there's individuals involved. I'm not saying for sure, but the whole thing stinks on ice. And
Nice.
I almost wish I wasn't put in a position to try to influence this to a better outcome.
Well, sure, it's wasted time.
Wasted time and effort. Wasted time and effort. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm not going to apologize. I don't think I did anything wrong. But had I known this was going to be the result, I would have pushed harder somehow. I didn't think it would be like, by the way, it's for sale now and it's already sold and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. No, that's ridiculous.
It's like the worst possible outcome. So the person out there who purchased it, I just hope that you believe in proper video game preservation and you get it preserved. But something tells me if they spent $10,000 on it very quickly, that I don't know if that's the case. It might be locked up.
Yeah, that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if it's something that happened like that. Great. So if you're a fan of Intuition, you want to see Intuition on the Atari 2600
Buy
finally.
a com.
What's that?
Buy a com.
Buy a com.
If you look at the label, it says Intuition. Buy a com.
Oh.
AQAM.
Yeah.
No one knows what that means.
Little brain. It's like a little brain program thing. But anyway, so hopefully it gets dumped. Yeah, so Half-Life Books did their research about it. They knew what they had. And originally it was going to come for sale on the 20th of January. That was the original date it was supposed to come for sale. It's like you hope you tell the right people, get the right people involved, and then the right things happen. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes greed prevails. That's all. Ian, we had a Nintendo Direct.
We did, and it's a long one, so if we don't stay focused, we will never ever make it through this episode.
I know, yeah, we got to go through it pretty quickly.
The first big, I'm just going to touch on the stuff that's interesting to me. I'm not going through all of this. That's ridiculous. First of all, the sequel to Breath of the Wild is called Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and it's out on May 12th, 2023. I think that's a little later than people were expecting, but at least it has a release date now. I think people were expecting it to be released by the end of the first quarter, so I think by the end of March. The way it's got a release date, it got a little trailer. It's going to be very much, it looks like, in the same style of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's really going to complain about that. Pikmin 4 was announced.
That's coming out in May, right? You say that? May.
Yes.
Okay.
Pikmin 4 was announced. Not a whole lot is known about it. Great for fans of the series. I've never really played those games.
Well, that was announced, I thought, years back that they were doing that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But it's finally coming out.
It's finally coming out.
Yeah, I thought that was several years back? When did they talk about that originally?
Can't recall.
Okay. But that's coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really played Pikmin, but it's a cute little franchise, looks like.
There's a new Fire Emblem game coming out. I like the idea of the Fire Emblem games. I've never been able to get into them. They are fun strategy type games, and obviously they've become huge over the past few years, so that's going to make a lot of people happy. This one is one that I'm very excited about. It's Kirby's Return to Dreamland is coming to the Switch. It was always one of the more expensive games on the Wii. Very popular. People loved it. And I'm excited to have, readily available copies that aren't expensive. Bayonetta 3 got a new trailer. That's one that a lot of people are looking forward to, and that's coming out way sooner than I thought.
I thought that's been announced for a couple of years.
What?
Now? Bayonetta 3?
It has.
Oh, okay.
It's a new trailer, and I was just about to say it comes out on October 28th. Before you said that, I said it comes out sooner than I thought.
But you say sooner than I thought. I'm thinking I thought the trailer for that was for like 2 years ago.
Well, I don't think they've ever announced a release date. So when it's one of those ones that are like, boom, it's coming out in a month.
Okay, great.
GoldenEye 007.
Well, so it's going to be part of the next, batch of Switch Online games, which are obviously some N64 games. So that includes you're going to get the 3 Mario parties.
Nice. Pokemon Stadium.
Pokemon!
Both of them.
You're going to get that as well. 1080 snowboarding. That's a first party nice one.
Break your damn controllers plan.
Giles Goddard worked on that. Genius Giles.
Yep.
I believe. And Excitebike 64. So you're getting, and Pilot Wings. So you're getting some nice first party games. So GoldenEye is a pretty big deal, and this is why. Because obviously this is a rights thing for GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm.
You have to clear it now with Rare. Who works with Microsoft. They're a Microsoft subsidiary. So this is why this is a big deal. This is obviously they're talking, let's do the right thing. Let's do this. So you're going to get your online multiplayer and you're going to get your original GoldenEye. But at the same time, Microsoft is doing a release of GoldenEye.
Remastered.
On Game Pass. Or if you have Rare Replay, they said they're going to give it to you for free. Which is nice.
Okay, that is nice.
So the one that Microsoft puts out will be a 4K remaster with like real frames per second, not like the 3 frames when you have explosions happening on screen, things like that. And you're going to get widescreen. So it's like this, they're going to punch it up a little bit. But here's the weird part. The Microsoft one has not been confirmed to have online multiplayer, just local split screen. So the original one will have the online multiplayer on Switch Online, but the remastered one on Microsoft, this is weird to say, will not have online multiplayer.
I feel like that could change with time. It just seems very strange to not have online for it.
It does, because you think you want to play the more modern one.
It's like I said earlier before we started recording. I mean, the single player mode in GoldenEye was fun and cool, but that's not what people remember it for.
Correct.
People remember it for the multiplayer and basically only the multiplayer.
No Odd Job. Don't do Odd Job. It's cheating. It's
so
cheating.
I just, if it's $15, I could see people doing it again to play the story mode, but it was neat at the time. It's not particularly special now.
Odd Job wasn't that short, by the way. When you go back and watch Goldfinger, like, it's not like Odd Job was short. It was shorter than Connery, but it wasn't like a 2-foot tall guy.
Right.
That sumo wrestler that was like legitimately fucking hurt Sean Connery in the fight scenes. You read about all that?
Oh, yeah.
Legitimately hurt him when he was hitting him. And Connery was a tough guy himself. He was a bodybuilder back in the day. Sorry.
That's okay. So again, just picking up the pace here. Nintendo Switch Sports will get its free golf mode this holiday. Golf was one of the more fun sports on the original.
I
Wii
enjoyed
Sports.
golf.
It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed golf. I think I did golf and
And bowling.
bowling, of course, but I like the hitting.
The baseball.
Baseball, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Which one's not on that still? Which one? Boxing's not on it, right?
Boxing sucks. And I don't think baseball's on here either.
You know, baseball?
No. They took two sports from the first one, two sports from the second one, and they said, I think it's I know golf was on the way and there was one other one, but it wasn't baseball or boxing.
Please put baseball. That can't be that hard to do baseball.
Um
Wave 3 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe booster course.
Looking forward to it. I've been enjoying all the expanded courses.
Is that the last wave? I don't have.
No, there's 6 of them.
There's 6. Okay.
Splatoon 3's for Splatfest will be between, if you go to a desert island, would you rather take gear, grub, or fun? I can tell you right now that I will be playing on Team Grub. Team Grub. And then after that, Fatal Frame is getting a re-release. I love the Fatal Frame games. Tunic, which I played on Xbox Game Pass, is getting added to the Switch.
Harvest Moon remake.
Yeah, which would be, I mean, there's kind of been remakes before, and it's Harvest Moon is no longer done by the same company that originally did Harvest Moon.
Okay.
The Story of Seasons games that are coming out now are the games that are done by the original Harvest Moon team.
The successor.
Yeah,
Spiritual. Okay.
that's the it's the real Harvest Moon. Front Mission 1 and Front Mission 2 are getting remakes on the Switch. That was actually announced a while ago. I'm really excited about that, actually. I love those games. They're mech strategy games. And
Jesus, there's a ton of games announced.
oh, this was the big one that I wanted to talk about, just mention because I'm happy with it, and then it will be my last mention. Radiant Silvergun. Finally. Radiant Silvergun arrives later today. I'm so excited. Between the two big treasure shooters, Radiant Silvergun and Ikaruga, I like Radiant Silvergun a lot. Ikaruga, I was never huge on. It's, Radiant Silvergun is notorious for being like a $200-$300 game on the original Saturn. It was, widely imported. People love it. I'm very, very excited to play this again because there was a remake that was only released on Xbox 360 Live Arcade. So this is the first time it's been seen since that release.
I'm excited for, this is goofy. I actually want to play this, believe it or not. Fitness Boxing Fist of the North Star.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that could be fun.
So it looks like it reminds me of sort of like, remember the punching arcade games?
Yeah.
Like that, where you had to react to it.
I think Steve Lynn actually mentioned that on Twitter.
Was one actually a Fist of the North Star, the one from the 90s that you punched?
I think there was one that was, yes.
You did. I remember playing them in the mall arcade in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like late 90s. So that looks like pretty funny. So I guess, not. Is there a trailer out for that one? I guess I showed it during the director. It has to be. So this is a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff, Ian. We're 5.5 years just about into the Switch, and they're still going strong. Like, this is like the middle age of the Switch, but they're going strong. I think we got a few more years left. They're gonna space this out, I think, at this point. And you still got that Metroid Prime game sometime before we're dead. So, is there anything that you're surprised that didn't show up, or pretty much what you expected?
Surprised that there's still no mention of Metroid.
They started from scratch.
Yeah, but even if you started from scratch, it's been a long enough time that I feel like you got something that you should have something to show.
I think they're not going to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, hey, guess what? It's out next month. The same sort of thing. So, I think I'm into the Fist of the North Star. It looks very interesting to me. All right, cool. Well, that's it for the intro. I think that's not as long as I thought it'd be, but not short.
We really kept it fucking going on the Nintendo
Thank you,
Direct.
Captain Intro.
You're welcome. I'm here for you.